It's another WRAL weather alert day due to the threat for flooding rains and gusty winds. Coming up, I'll show you who just went under a flood advisory.
Governor Roy Cooper rallies support for Kamala Harris's new run for the presidency, but we are no closer to finding out if he will join her on the Democratic ticket.
The driver charged with a crash that killed 5 people faced the judge. What we've learned about his driving history.
It is the 4th weather alert day in a row, and some areas are really taking a beating. Good afternoon to you. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. Thanks for joining us. We have team coverage this noon with a look at area roads. We begin with meteorologist Amy Wilmoth in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with the threats we face and when we'll finally start to dry out. Amy.
It's going to take until the weekend for us to dry things out. Today, the risks that we have, flooding rains, we're already seeing that on some of the area roadways. The flood watch continues for the rest of the day today. We also have a level 1 risk for severe storms from the triangle and points to the southeast for the threat for some damaging winds within some of these. This is a live look at the radar right now. This area just went under a flood advisory. They've had 1 inch to 1.5 inches of rain over the last couple of hours. It's really coming down. And as I was mentioning all morning, the rain just really doesn't have anywhere to go because the ground is already so saturated, and so it's just going into the roads and causing issues on the road. So Orange County, you're in this flood advisory until 1:45 this afternoon, and it does include Chapel Hill. The heaviest rain right now just to the north of Chapel Hill, making its way into Durham. Also in Wake County, the northern part of Wake County, we have some very heavy rain in the Wake Forest area, approaching Wake Forest. Lewisburg has some heavy rain as well, and we have some light rain in the southern part of Wake County, and then just some light spotty showers in the southern part of our viewing area. So let's check out Futurecast. We have hours to go that we're going to be dealing with this afternoon. We'll have scattered showers and storms. The first part of the evening commute, here's 4 o'clock. We'll have rain and storms. Same thing at 5 o'clock. And then beyond that, it looks like it's going to start to taper off, move into our southeastern counties. So the first half of the evening commute with the latest model trends, it's looking wetter and wetter. Check out this picture of Wake Forest. Boy, some dark clouds here. Some heavy rain starting to move in. This is another look at our North Hills camera. Dark clouds there too. 77, the current temperature right now. A look at the hour-by-hour rain chances. They're highest in the next several hours until about 5, 6 o'clock. And right now we're going to go to Kelsey. She's in the storm tracker. She's headed north up toward Wake Forest. Kelsey, what are you seeing?
Amy, right now we're just seeing some light rain, but we know that there is going to be more rain coming as we get into Wake Forest. But this is a live look now at North Raleigh. So if you're going to take your lunch break, this is what you should be seeing. Not too much to worry about in this area, but we covered a lot of ground throughout the morning in the storm tracker. We were throughout Wake, Durham, Orange County, and of course, this is the 4th WRAL weather alert day in a row. So we've seen a lot of rain recently. If you're going to be headed out on the roadways, you definitely need to be careful. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Wake County.
New at noon, Governor Roy Cooper wrapped up remarks at his first Harris for President campaign event. Cooper was once again asked about the national speculation that he may be chosen as her running mate. WRAL Capitol Bureau Chief Laura Leslie was there and joins us live from downtown Raleigh. Laura, tell us about what the mood was like there.
Jeff, you know, Governor Cooper has appeared many times on the campaign trail as a surrogate for President Joe Biden for some time, but this is his first event as a surrogate for Vice President Kamala Harris. He got a rock star welcome from some very energized party faithful today.
There is no enthusiasm gap anymore.
Governor Roy Cooper there reiterating his endorsement of Harris's presidential bid. He was not as forthcoming about his status in the VP search. Cooper said he respects the process and he declined to answer further questions about it, including what his family thinks about the prospect. He had a similar response when he was asked the same questions earlier this week. Cooper did say today there are several very strong contenders.
There are a lot of people that she can choose. She's going to make the right choice. I just want her to choose the person that gives her the best chance to win. Yeah.
Cooper also had some thoughts to share about J.D. Vance, the Republican nominee for vice president that he would go up against if he ends up being Harris's pick. The governor called Vance Trump's mini-me and said the Ohio senator's support for a national abortion ban with no exceptions for rape or incest, quote, probably wouldn't play well in North Carolina or a lot of other states. Cooper did get the unanimous recommendation of the North Carolina Democratic delegation as the VP pick, but he is up against in the Veep state. We had PA Governor Josh Shapiro, also Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear and Arizona Senator Mark Kelly. Laura Leslie, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Former President Donald Trump's appearance in Charlotte gave him the opportunity to contrast himself with Harris before voters in a battleground state. Trump painted her as a radical liberal who voters will reject in November. During his rally inside Bojangles Coliseum yesterday, he dubbed her Lion Kamala Harris, calling her the driving force behind every single Biden catastrophe. His speech was a change to the message of unity he presented at the RNC following the assassination attempt.
I was supposed to be nice. They say something happened to me when I got shot. I became nice. And when you're dealing with these people, they're very dangerous people. You can't be too nice.
4 years ago, North Carolina produced Trump's narrowest margin of statewide victory. It's expected to be a top battleground again in 2024. Strong economic data showing the U.S. economy growing 2.8% in the second quarter is driving stocks up. Take a look at the Dow, up 370 points. 8 points, S&P 500 up 35 points, and the NASDAQ also in the green, advancing 80 points at this hour.
New at noon, the tractor-trailer driver accused of causing this crash on Interstate 95 in Wilson appeared in court this morning. 51-year-old Charles Haskell is charged in the deaths of 5 people. WRAL's Heidi Kirk was in the courtroom and at the scene yesterday. Heidi, walk us through what happened today.
Well, Jeff, it was a scene that many of us will never forget on I-95 northbound yesterday. Some people sat in traffic for more than 8 hours after state troopers say Charles Haskell failed to stop in a tractor trailer, hitting several other vehicles, one of them lighting on fire. Now, as you said, we were at the Wilson County Courthouse inside the courtroom today as Haskell made his first appearance in front of the judge. When he came in, he was quiet and reserved, but now he is facing 5 counts, misdemeanor death by motor vehicle for the death of 5 people. Now, we're of course going to continue to follow this story, but Haskell is due back in court here at the Wilson County Courthouse on October 18th of this year. He does have a bond. It's $25,000. It has not yet been posted, but we are going to continue digging into this story and looking into his past, his driving record, and bring you the latest. Heidi Kirk, WRAL News, live in Wilson.
Covering Wake County, police are searching for the driver who led them on a chase that ended with the car crashing into a house. The chase began around midnight in Rollsville near Main Street and Southtown Circle. It ended when the vehicle crashed into a home on Barnes House Court in Wake Forest. No one was injured.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, 2 NASA astronauts that were supposed to be back on Earth a month ago will remain at the International Space Station. Test pilots Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams were supposed to visit the orbiting lab for a week and then return in mid-June. Engineers are still working on their Boeing Starliner capsule that's been having thruster failures and helium leaks. Mission managers today said they are not ready to announce a return date. This was Boeing's first test flight with a crew on board.
Michelle, thanks. We're getting a better idea of the local impact of the CrowdStrike outage on the state's DMV service. Hundreds of people had to reschedule appointments, not to mention the hours others waited in line. WRAL's Ken Smith is here now with how the DMV is trying to rectify what happened. Ken.
Yeah, Renee, we're talking hundreds of appointments that had to be rescheduled when that tech outage happened last Friday. We knew this outage linked to CrowdStrike affected several businesses, hospitals, and of course the DMV. At the time, we didn't know how much of a setback it was for DMV offices across the state. Now we have the numbers to show the effect the global tech outage had on offices where people renew their driver's licenses and other services. Here's what we know. More than 1,800 appointments had to be canceled. About 600 people waited in line until operations were up and running by 1 p.m. last Friday. Now, keep in mind, DMV offices open at 7 a.m. Also, 1,300 customers rescheduled their appointments for later dates. Now, a state DMV spokesperson tells us anyone who didn't get help should reach out to your local DMV office and they'll try to reschedule you at a more convenient time for you.
Next at noon, an update just in on Avante Devon, the woman accused of killing 2 of her adopted children in Cumberland County. Why she was moved to another facility.
Also, we are now just hours from the start of the 2024 Summer Games in Paris. The final preparations being made for tomorrow's opening ceremony.
Plus the protests happening in the U.S. while Israel's prime minister visits the White House and the fighting continues against Hamas.
Keep one for the Air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.
WRAL confirmed the Fayetteville mother accused of murdering her two children, Blake and London Devon, was transferred to a different detention center. Avante Devon is also accused of covering up her children's deaths. WRAL's Chris Lovington has been on this story since the beginning. Chris, why was she transferred?
Well, Renee, that's the part that I'm really still trying to verify, but I did confirm with the State Department of Adult Correction Director, Avante Devon was transferred. This is the woman accused of abusing, torturing, and killing her adopted children, Blake and London Devon. They disappeared years ago, but only in January did Avante report Blake missing. Now, she was being held in the Cumberland County Jail, and now she is at the North Carolina Correctional Institution for Women. She was moved around 5 o'clock last night. Now, as for why, she was designated what's called a safekeeper. That's when an inmate has security, health, or mental health issues of some kind. If a county can't manage these issues, well, a judge can sign an order to have the state system take custody of the inmate, at least for now. But she could be moved back at any time. It just kind of depends on how this case plays out. And coming up tomorrow night at 6 o'clock on WRAL, I am bringing you an interview with a woman who approached WRAL Investigates and says Avante Devon abused her too. For WRAL, I'm Chris Lovington.
There are renewed calls today to pass the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act following the deadly shooting of Sonia Massey. She's the Illinois woman who was killed by a deputy after calling about an intruder possibly in her home. Body camera footage shows the moment the deputy, Sean Grayson, who is white, shot and killed the 36-year-old black woman. In response to Massey's death, President Joe Biden and Vice President Harris this week called on Congress to pass the bill. It would set up a national registry of police misconduct to prevent officers from evading consequences by moving to another jurisdiction. Friends and relatives of Taylor Casey have raised $32,000 after she disappeared in the Bahamas. The donations will help secure legal aid, support mental health, and pay for additional trips to both Washington, D.C. and the capital of the Bahamas. It has been over a month since her disappearance, which Casey's loved ones say is not getting the attention it deserves.
The opening ceremony for the Paris Olympics is tomorrow. We have just less than 24 hours to go. Organizers are getting ready for the opening ceremony on the River Seine. Instead of a traditional march into a stadium, about 90 boats will carry the Olympians down the river for 3.7 miles. Right now, workers are setting up audio and video equipment all along the banks for this one-of-a-kind ceremony tomorrow. NBC has the massive task of covering it all. Jay Gray has a report from Paris with a look at that effort.
The iconic Parisian landmarks that will serve as venues for the Summer Games are polished and ready for prime time during a broadcast unlike any in the history of the Olympic Games.
Nice little backdrop here, the Eiffel Tower.
NBC airing an unprecedented 7,000 hours of coverage across its platform of networks and on Peacock streaming.
This is the International Broadcast Center. This is NBC's home away from home, our forward operating base here in the Olympic host city.
With 1,200 or so employees and 250,000 feet of fiber cables here in Paris, along with countless cameras, monitors, and microphones in place and ready to bring you all of the action.
Rahimi scores!
And that's only half of the NBC Olympic team. At NBC Sports International Broadcast Center in Stamford, Connecticut, about 1,800 people play a key role in the coverage.
Half the control room is in Connecticut, half the control room is here in Paris. Those people work together like they're in the same building.
With the Olympics playing out in the European time zone, most of the competition will be over by prime time in America. Still, you'll see the best competitions each day, but now with an even closer look at some of the biggest athletes and events.
Things that don't necessarily go into the live flow, but makes a lot of sense when you get a chance to kind of look back at it and how we surround the competition with all these extra angles, data, bits and pieces.
Pieces of history set to unfold in the City of Light.
And that was Jay Gray reporting. WRAL is your home for the Summer Olympics. Our live coverage begins tomorrow, runs until August 11th. Look for live reports from Paris throughout the competition at 6 a.m., 6 p.m., and 11 p.m. And Jay was talking about the time difference, Paris being 6 hours ahead. So the opening ceremony tomorrow will be 1:30 in the afternoon Eastern time.
It'll be good fun. I understand there's a small chance of rain there, which is kind of a bummer because they'll be on the River Seine. Hopefully they can get by it. We have a big chance for rain here.
Oh, the rain is going to intensify here, and in some parts already seeing that heavy rain. Meteorologist Amy Wilmoth in the WRAL Severe Weather Center, and that increases our chance for flooding today.
That's right. If you look behind you, it is raining at Dix Park now in downtown. The rain really filling in across the viewing area. We have a pair of fronts that we're watching. This is the front that's been just stuck over us for days and days and days. This is the front that's going to sweep that out of here, but not until we get to the end of the day Friday. So we'll have waves of rain through Friday, and then drier air moves in for the weekend. Let's take a close look at the dual Doppler 5000, and we do have widespread rain. There's a little bit of a break here in our southwestern counties, but we've had some pretty heavy rain over in Orange County near Chapel Hill and just north of Chapel Hill. A flood advisory now in effect for that area until 1:45 this afternoon. They've had about 1 inch to 1.5 inches already today, and they're going to get additional maybe an inch and a half. And we've had so much rain the last several days. The water just doesn't have anywhere to go. The ground is totally saturated, and a lot of that water running into the roads, causing some ponding and leading to some flooding. So we're keeping an eye on that. We'll let you know if there are any issues, if we're hearing any issues from law enforcement, from fire department, that kind of thing. We also have some heavy rain in the Wake Forest area as well. All right, 6-hour rainfall total. This is where you can really see where we've had that heaviest rain here in the blue, 1 inch to 1.5 inches in the last 6 hours. But we're also starting to see it pile up here in northern Wake County and points to the north and east. Add on 6 hours to that. This is the 12-hour rainfall totals. We've had some really heavy rain in the northern half of our viewing area, also in the southeastern part of our viewing area. So again, the additional rain that we're getting is not helping the situation, and I imagine we're going to get some more either flash flood warnings or flood advisories as we head through the next few hours. I'll look at some of our counties, our cameras in Wake County. A live look in Apex, dry right now, but I'm sure it's going to start raining pretty soon. Look at these ominous clouds here at the TV studios just outside, and then the rain coming down here in Dix Park. Ooh, they're going to get wet. Walking the dog, getting wet for that. You're going to have to plan that accordingly today. Kind of look at your radar, look at your app, and see when you can get outside and skip out on the rain. But we do have the rain that's going to be fairly widespread through the afternoon. This is 3 o'clock. We'll have scattered showers and a few storms at 4 o'clock. So for the start of the evening commute, this is new. This is a newer trend. It looks like this rain's going to stick around a little bit longer. Here's 5:15, dealing with some of that rain. And then by the time we get to around 7, 8 o'clock, it starts to settle down a little bit and pull away from us. But an additional 1 to 3 inches possible. That's why we have the flood watch that remains in effect through the rest of the day today. And we still have the level 1 risk for severe storms. I don't think we're going to have widespread severe storms, but any gusty winds that we have could take down some trees because the ground is so saturated. That could lead to some power outages. And we're watching that as well. Temperatures are warm in the 70s and low 80s, and the dew point in the 70s. It's just very muggy and sticky outside. Planning your evening commute now looks like it's probably going to be a little bit slow getting home. We have a decent chance, at least for the first half of the evening commute. Tomorrow, we have another round of some storms possible, but this is the light at the end of the tunnel. Saturday and Sunday, dry with temperatures in the upper 80s. We're back to some rain chances by Monday. Coming up in the next half hour, I'll have another radar update for you.
Later on WRAL News at 4, cases of whooping cough are on the rise across the U.S. How much case numbers have changed since the pandemic and what health leaders are doing to get the cases back down. Plus,
scammers may have compromised a safety feature in your car. 5 on Your Side explains how to make sure your airbag will properly protect you in a crash. And still ahead this noon, Southwest Airlines is doing away with its open seating. Why the company is assigning seats on future flights. That's coming up.
Plus, the surprising collectibles bringing people to the Olympic Games. How Olympic pins are drawing a crowd to Paris. Just ahead. As tech scams get more complicated, they're having a bigger impact, including on retail. Evan Brown explains the simple technology that can help ensure consumers get what they pay for.
As technology improves and AI becomes part of everyday life, scammers are getting more sophisticated, and that includes in the retail space. For years, experts have warned of a counterfeit crisis plaguing the industry, and now everything from fake Botox to 3D printed clothing is passing as the genuine article, giving some online shoppers a false sense of security.
All these little nice marketing stickers on our packages, does that really mean that it's really organic? What does organic mean?
But now there is a solution. Verify is a company that specializes in high-tech verification for everyday consumer products. The technology is simple. They put their tags on boxes and bags. You can see the small black dot connected to antennas. Those tags then connect to an app that can verify the product you're getting is the one you paid for.
Human safety was our focus, and that a mother or someone who is a caregiver can be able to check really quickly against the product and check to see if it's authentic. And yeah, it's authentic.
Verify uses NFC, or near field communication, the same technology powering Apple or Samsung Pay. More than 160 brands are now using their tech to make supply lines safer, eliminating millions in damages and loss from counterfeiting by engaging the consumer in the process.
If we create portable accountability, utilizing such as our technologies, it is immutable. It cannot be copied.
That was Eben Brown reporting. The Commerce Department says brand counterfeiting costs companies some $200 billion each year.
The days of choosing any seat you want on a Southwest Airlines flight are coming to an end. Southwest Airlines is doing away with its 50-year tradition and plans to start assigning seats. The airline says the move is a response to customer preferences, but could also boost company profits. The airline is also introducing overnight red-eye flights and premium seating with more legroom. Our team coverage of the WRAL Weather Alert Day continues right after the break. Meteorologist Amy Wilmoth has a fresh look at the radar. And the WRAL Storm Tracker is out, keeping us aware of the road conditions.
Plus, Vice President Kamala Harris clinches support from these congressional lawmakers. What this group says about her record of fighting for the American people. First, here's a look at the winning lottery numbers. Heavy rain could lead to some flooding today. That's why it's a WRAL Weather Alert Day, our fourth one this week. Thanks for staying with us. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Jeff Hogan. We have the WRAL Storm Tracker out on the roads, giving us the current conditions right now. But we begin with meteorologist Amy Wilmoth in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with a look at where we're getting some of that heaviest rain right now and how long it'll last.
And just in, we have a new flood advisory that includes part of Wake County and Franklin County until 3:15 this afternoon. This is a big picture look at the radar. Let's zoom into the new flood advisory that we have. I was mentioning the very heavy rain that moved through Wake Forest. Kelsey's actually in this area, so it'll be a good thing that we check in with her in just a moment. But some very heavy rain falling in the northeastern part of Wake County up into Franklin County and the Lewisburg area. And we still have the flood advisory for Orange County. That does include Chapel Hill. That one goes until 1:15 this afternoon. So we already have some flood advisories. I would expect more of those, perhaps even the potential for some flash flood warnings. Here's Kelsey's location right now. Kelsey, you're getting just outside of the rain, but you're pretty close to the heaviest rain. What are you seeing right now?
Amy, right now we're not seeing that heavy rain that we saw just about 5 minutes ago. So right now we are in downtown Wake Forest. We'll give you a look now at wet roads. We are in that area where there's a flood advisory. So if you're headed out for your lunch break in this area, this is what you're going to see outside. Again, the fourth WRAL Weather Alert Day in a row. So lots of rain that we've seen over the past several days. So if you're out on the roads today, be careful and watch your speed. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Wake Forest.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu delivered a defiant speech to Congress defending the ongoing war against Hamas. Netanyahu drew protests inside and outside the Capitol and is set to meet with President Biden, Vice President Harris, and families of American hostages today. Here's NBC's Raf Sanchez.
President Biden has two main priorities when it comes to the Middle East for his remaining time in office. One, getting a deal to end the war in Gaza and bring the hostages home. And two, to lay the foundation for some kind of future governance in Gaza and reconstruction. And it was really striking. Prime Minister Netanyahu, in his address to a joint session of Congress, did not really give any detail on either front. He said Israel will maintain security control in Gaza for the foreseeable future. And he said at some point, a Palestinian civilian administration will take part of civilian affairs. He gave no detail about who he saw making up that administration. And he really had very little to say about the prospect of a deal to bring the hostages home nearly 300 days into their captivity at the hands of Hamas. A senior American official did say that progress is being made. They hope that there will be movement next week when Israeli negotiators return to Qatar for those talks. Meanwhile, Israeli forces continue to operate in the southern city of Han Yunis. More than 150,000 Palestinians have been displaced by Israel's military offensive there. Israel says it is pursuing Hamas fighters who have regrouped in the city. And overnight, Israel recovering the bodies of one civilian hostage and 4 Israeli soldiers, all of whom are believed to have been killed on October 7th, their bodies taken into Gaza by Hamas. Raf Sanchez, NBC News, Tel Aviv.
Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi and other Democratic women from the U.S. House gathered today to endorse Kamala Harris for president. They described the vice president as a woman of dignity and strength who is fighting to save democracy and protect reproductive freedom. They say her vision reflects the needs and priorities of women across the nation.
Will we build an economy that works for everyone? Or will we endow corporations with more rights than our daughters? Vice President Harris has been in this fight her entire career. Through every chapter of her public service, she has been the antithesis of Donald Trump.
Supporters described Harris as a candidate with a vision of hope, a vision of freedom, against a vision of dismantling the future.
And here in the WRAL Live Center, we're also learning this afternoon that former President Obama is expected to endorse Harris very soon. Sources are telling CNN that information. His team has been in touch with her campaign. They have been in touch regularly. He's serving as a sounding board for her. They have known each other for 20 years. The source also told CNN that Obama thinks Harris is off to a very impressive start.
First Lady Joe Biden is in Paris right now, where she will lead Team USA's delegation at the Olympic opening ceremony in less than 24 hours. First Lady Biden showed up wearing this Team USA bomber-style Ralph Lauren jacket. A welcome party, including the U.S. ambassador to France, greeted her at the airport. While there, Mrs. Biden will support Team USA at various events.
One man's hobby has taken him to 14 Olympic Games and made him countless friends along the way, many who are in Paris for the next 2.5 weeks. The 86-year-old started collecting Olympic pins after he volunteered at the Calgary Winter Olympics. Some have little value and are useful only as swaps. Others are worth between $15 to $50. The rare ones will fetch up to $1,000 on eBay.
It's addictive. It's like if you start collecting anything, whatever it is, this is the same thing. But this, to me, is a lot of fun because you go to another country, you meet a lot of nice people, and that's what makes it. You know, I could collect coins, stuff like that, but it wouldn't be the fun. You just go into a store.
Some people look for certain pins, like those that represent countries, venues, or mascots. Then there are some who will only collect the Paris pins.
WRAL is your home for the Summer Olympic Games. Our live coverage begins tomorrow and runs until August 11th. Look for live reports from Paris throughout the competition at 6 a.m., 6 p.m., and 11 p.m.
The post-pandemic travel boom may be fading. Airlines are now trying to fill seats, the routes that may end up being a steal.
Plus, we'll show you how some seniors in their golden years are experiencing the Olympics in a whole new way. The gold medal benefits from these interactive sessions. Keep up with important information by downloading the WRAL app. You can get breaking news updates and weather alerts right to your device. The latest version now available wherever you get your apps. Wake Tech, Wake County Schools, and the Boys and Girls Club of Wake County partner to help underserved students learn to drive. A summer driver's ed program began with the virtual learning courses. At first, they faced long wait lists and higher costs than they could afford. That is until the partnership stepped in to help. Workforce Community Outreach Officer Carlin Hardy organized the effort.
They are excited. I've talked to them about the importance of having this credential, this being their first credential after high school, and how that opens up avenues to different employment options. Regardless if you have access to a vehicle or not, it's a good credential to have.
And now the next step for the students, driving on the road with the help of the Jordan Driving School, and then earning their driver's license.
Airlines are bracing for the end of the post-pandemic revenge travel boom. They're being forced to cut ticket prices in order to fill seats. Passengers were desperate to travel anywhere after COVID travel restrictions were lifted. The boom caused airlines to hike their fares and run short on planes. Well, now the airlines are struggling to keep up demand. Shorter domestic routes and economy class to European destinations are most effective. You have a chance to meet some of your favorite celebrities right here in Raleigh. GalaxyCon kicks off today. Doors will open at the Raleigh Convention Center this afternoon at 2. This year's convention will feature a lineup of celebrity guests, including Linda Hamilton, who you'll remember as Sarah Connor in the Terminator series. Everyone knows William Shatner, and some of your favorite actors from the Scream franchise. GalaxyCon runs through Sunday. Tickets are still available.
We're less than 24 hours away from the opening ceremony for the Summer Games in Paris, but there's another type of Olympics taking place stateside. How some seniors are getting in on the action without using their passports. Plus,
this is a dance with nature.
Coming up, how one man is sending a political message through agriculture. Welcome back. This is a live look at South Hill, Virginia, where you can see the gray and cloudy skies. Doesn't look like it's raining there, but we're going to see waves of rain throughout the viewing area for the rest of the afternoon and evening. We do have an increased risk for severe storms and that potential for flooding, so keep it right here. We've been counting down the days to the Paris Olympics, and look, we are now in the hours, just 23 hours till the opening ceremony. For the next few weeks, tens of thousands of athletes will compete in Paris for a coveted gold medal. Kaya Edwards shows us how their athleticism is inspiring some seniors in their golden years.
Eric's beating you just a little bit out in front.
A little bit?
Very.
He's kicking my butt.
With the help of a headset, a senior care home transforms into a bike trail.
They keep us pretty busy. They really do.
Mount Olivet residents like Rick Hines are using virtual reality to experience the 2024 Summer Games.
There you go, front stroke.
I know I'm in my chair, but my mind is telling me I'm at the Olympics.
The system was designed specifically for seniors, and the company behind it, Rendeavor, releases new destinations weekly.
Wow. We're not just a facility that does bingo.
In Paris, recreational therapist Erica Thompson guides the group to tennis courts, fields, swimming pools.
We're not just a facility that throws on a movie. We would like to make sure that our programs have purpose.
She says they received Rendeavor in January as part of a state-funded performance improvement plan.
Something really cool about this too is we have some residents with macular degeneration who are able to be successful with seeing through the VR goggles.
Caretakers report these interactive sessions reduce social isolation and depression.
Did you guys know that there's even a small apartment at top of the Eiffel Tower?
For Rick, it's a chance to be active. He played several sports growing up and has always enjoyed the Olympics.
I hope sometime that it becomes available for everybody. It's that unique an experience.
Super cool. A renowned crop artist moved away from political pieces a few years ago, and it appears he's back at it. Stan Hurd creates what is known as earthwork. 12 days and 25 yards of mulch later, he created this portrait using Earth's natural resources. It's located near Lawrence, Kansas, but the landowner doesn't want to give the exact location. Hurd says it's a symbol of support from him and those who now stand behind Vice President Kamala Harris.
What I try to do is do something big enough that it catches enough attention that it might make the sea change happen a little quicker. Yeah. And then you feel good about yourself because you're evidencing your abilities in the marketplace of democracy.
Well, the artwork includes a second box with a question mark for Harris's running mates to be filled in later, I guess. The creator is preparing materials for a second portrait that will go right next to the original. See, maybe Governor Cooper, maybe she chooses him. I don't know. You see his face out there.
A crop artist, such a unique talent there. Well, for so long we've been talking about how we wanted rain. Well, we've certainly gotten it, and now maybe a little too much rain. Meteorologist Amy Wilmoth in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. My goodness, 4th day in a row for this WRAL Weather Alert Day.
That's right. And another flood advisory was just issued for the northeastern part of our viewing area. So you can see the flood advisory is really lining up here. It spans about 10 counties. So let's zoom into the newest flood advisory that we have. It's for parts of Nash County, Edgecombe County, and Halifax County right here until 3:45 this afternoon. Back to the west a little bit. We still have this flood advisory that includes the northeastern part of Wake County into part of Franklin County, including Lewisburg. That one goes until 3:15. And then back to the west even more, we have this flood advisory that is going to end at 1:15. Very heavy rain falling in Orange County. And look just to the south of that, along 64. This is going to keep moving to the east. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some flood advisories for perhaps Chatham County over towards Siler City and Pittsburgh. I'll let you know if that happens. But we do have some very heavy rain. And this is where our storm tracker is right now. Kelsey was in it all morning, and she's been in it during the noon hour. Let's see if we can show you that picture. She's been in and out of some of the rain. Wet roads here in the eastern part of Wake County near Rollsville. You can see that the windshield wipers are going. The rain letting up a little bit, but that flood advisory still in effect for northeastern parts of Wake County. All right, check out this picture at Chapel Hill. This view comes to you from Top of the Hill Restaurant. The rain really coming down here in Chapel Hill. They're under the flood advisory right now. Folks walking around with their umbrellas and their rain jackets. Another camera we have that's in a separate flood advisory is in Lewisburg. The rain really coming down here, and you can see some ponding on the area road. So just take it slow if you're headed out and about today. And this is a live look at RDU in Raleigh. And if you have a flight this afternoon or this evening, call ahead, because with all of this rain, I wouldn't be surprised if we have some more delays out there. We still have the flood watch in effect for the rest of the day today. We have a level 1 risk from the triangle and points to the south and east. Some gusty winds could bring down some trees. This is going to continue probably through 5, 6 o'clock, and then I think things are going to start to settle down. For the next 3 hours, if you're about to head out, maybe run some errands, just plan for rain. Take it slow. If you're in one of the flood advisories, maybe hold off for a little bit if you can, because I do think we're going to start to see some issues. Now, there's some good news in all of this. The drought conditions have improved. We have a new drought monitor out last week. 68% of North Carolina was in a moderate drought. That's gone down to 26%, which is great news. So the drought has improved, and I really don't think we're surprised by that. This is what the map looked like last week. Just kind of take a look at this one, and then we're going to compare it to the map this week that was released, and we're really chipping away at the drought with all of this rain that we've had, and we still have a couple of days to go. This is a look at how much additional rain we could get through Friday, anywhere from 1/2 inch to maybe 2.5 inches of rain. So we're not done yet. We still have a couple of days to go. We have a medium risk for flooding today. Tomorrow, that medium risk moves down to the south. Next 5 days, rain in the forecast, obviously today, still tomorrow, but nice and dry over the weekend, so that's good. Plan for the rain today, but it is going to start to taper off late this evening. We'll have another round of storms tomorrow, not as widespread, and then we have some drier conditions for the upcoming weekend. Storms back in the forecast, though, as we head into Monday.
Amy, thank you. Fish don't fly, or do they? One couple has a theory of how this aquatic animal fell from the sky.
What's happening here? Look at your winning Powerball numbers: 16, 42, 59, 63, 68. The Powerball's 13. The Power Play is 2.
As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines we're following today.
The Fayetteville mother accused of murdering two of her adopted children, Blake and London Devon, is now at the North Carolina Correctional Institution for Women in Raleigh. Avante Devon was previously at the Cumberland County Jail. She was designated what's called a safe keeper. WRAL is working to confirm what led to her transfer.
The truck driver accused of causing a crash that killed 5 people on Interstate 95 in Wilson appeared in court this morning. 5 people were killed. Charles Haskell is charged with 5 counts of misdemeanor death by motor vehicle. State Highway Patrol says Haskell did not slow down in a construction area. He is now in jail on $25,000 secure bond.
A Duke Hospital employee has been arrested and accused of sexually exploiting a minor. Vicky Sutter has been charged with 10 counts of second-degree sexual exploitation of a minor. She is also facing more than a dozen counts of copying child porn. Sutter is on administrative leave. She's being held on a $200,000 bond.
A home for sale in San Francisco could transport you to medieval times. The 3-bedroom Spanish Mediterranean home went on sale after the former owner died. The 93-year-old priest decorated it with items he purchased in Europe. You'll find everything from swords and stained glass, dragons and goblets to suits of armor. The $1.2 million price tag does not include all the artifacts. Visitors can place a bid on items to take a piece of this castle home.
A New Jersey couple is sharing the story of their smelly, scaly surprise. They were inside their home when they heard their car alarm go off. Once they got outside, they found the windshield of their Tesla was shattered. The only clues about what happened, blood and fish scales.
That bird must have been pretty high up when it dropped it for it to, build up that kind of force to break the windshield, because the windshield was shattered, Can't even make something up that crazy.
Okay, so the dash cam footage captured that 1-pound bluefish as it fell from the sky. It bounced off the windshield into the couple's garage. The couple believes a bird dropped it mid-flight. Now they just have to convince their insurance company to believe this fish tale.
All that damage from a bird losing its lunch. Our pet of the day was rescued from a hoarding situation where she had a difficult start to life. Baby Belle is a 3-year-old spayed female cat. She grew up confined to a small cage alongside dozens of other cats. And now Baby Belle is ready to begin a new life where she wants to enjoy the freedom to move, play, and cuddle. If you want to meet her, you can contact SPCA of Wake County.
Turns out you might be paying different prices for the same thing someone else has. Coming up at 4 on WRAL News, 5 on your side, talked with an expert and shares if personal data being collected about you could have something to do with this.
NBC News Daily is next on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
Stay safe with the latest WRAL Weather Alert Day info. Get up to the minute weather and traffic conditions when you get in your car. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM, in Durham 96.5 FM, and everywhere on 101.5 HD3.